viewers and listeners. We've come to the final episode of VXI Conversations first season. This is Jamie Fournier, your host. Let's go ahead and get our conversation going. During the last episode, we picked the brains of OM Ren and TL Reynolds and asked for tips on how we can determine if the company we're currently working for is the right one for us. So, for those of you who are a bit hesitant about your company, please feel free to hit play on episode 13 to know more about their insights. For today, I'm so happy to have our guests with us as we have Talent Acquisition Officer from Davao, Joy Marie Villa, and Talent Acquisition Specialist from Bridgetown, Kim Bogs Quinto. So, hi, Joy. Hi, Bogs. How are you guys doing?
Hi, good
Hi,
day to
Jamie. Good
you guys.
afternoon.
I always love having conversations with recruiters. I was once a recruiter many years ago, so I'm so ready to pick your brains. But before we even dive into this conversation, tell us a bit more about yourself and your experience in the BPO industry, especially in VXI. Joy, the floor is yours.
Hi. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joy Marie Villa. I started working with VXI Global in the year 2012, a few months after I graduated my degree in psychology. So
Mm,
practically the first BPO that I had is already VXI and current and still with VXI. So I'm already with VXI for 9 years now.
amazing. Amazing. 9 years, that's a long time. And I can see you're smiling from ear to ear. I can see that you're flourishing. Your career is
Wow.
great and you're doing what you love doing. You're in
I
recruitment.
do.
Mhm. I got to know more about what led you to this department. Out of all the support departments in the BPO industry, we're going to pick your brain and understand how you ended up in recruitment. But we also have Boggs joining us from Bridgetown. So, hi, Boggs. How are you doing?
Hi. So far, so good, Jamie. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, Jamie have mentioned my name is Kim. Everybody in the office used to call me Bogs. I
Hmm.
started with VXI way back 2017. Technically, same with Joy. This is also my first BPO company. So I started as a contractual employee, then got absorbed.
Hmm.
Uh, been positioned to different sites, QC, VXI Clark as
Hmm.
well, and now Bridgetown. So far, I'm turning 4 years in the company. So far, so good as well with the experience and all that. Still learning a lot of stuff though.
Wow. Collectively, that's 9 years and 4 years between the two of you. And again, it's your first BPO company and you've stayed and you're continuing to stay. So I really want to know how you ended up in the BPO industry in the first place and how you ended up in recruitment. So, Joy, I echo your path. I studied psychology as well. So when I had my first interview for a BPO company, they offered me a job in recruitment. So I want to know how you got offered a job in recruitment or how you chose this department for you.
To be honest, it wasn't that easy. I had my application with VXI, I think 3 times before I get
Hmm.
hired. Because the first time I applied for a human resource. Unfortunately, they already hired someone when I applied. So the next time I applied, I oh no, this just 2 rounds. Sorry about that. Twice. I applied
It's okay.
twice, and the
Mhm.
first was for human resource, and the second was for a talent acquisition. I saw the job
Okay.
posting in, I believe that um a job ad. I saw the job ad and applied for it. Got a call,
Hmm.
applied for it, and then after which I think I waited for about 3 weeks or 1 month
Hmm.
before I got hired. When I had my final interview, they wanted me to start immediately.
Wow. They
Yes.
wanted you on board right away. And did you say yes to
Yes.
that?
I gave them at least 3 days.
Okay.
I needed
So you're
at least I had to leave my previous guy. I had my immediate resignation with my previous company, and then that was a weekend. So I started on a Monday.
I want to understand that. I know we're just talking about how you started your career in the BPO recruitment
Hmm.
department, but you were working for a different company and you
Yes.
got offered a job in VXIPH. And why did
Hmm.
you decide to go for it? Why did you say to yourself, you know what, it's worth leaving this company I'm already an employee for? And you started your career in VXI. What was your motivation behind that, Joy?
Um, well, as a fresh graduate of those years, I really thought that I should venture my opportunities or venture to a job wherein I will be able to practice my profession. So, firstly, I was a
Mm-hmm.
graduate of Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. My first job was a service advisor for a car company. It
Mm,
wasn't really related, but it was customer service. It was nice. But then again, I always wanted to land a job in a human resource or recruitment or office space that would really practice or hone my profession for, or at least practice my profession for psychology. So when I got the job, they told me that they wanted me to start immediately. So I said yes, yes,
yes, yes,
immediately.
yes.
Yes, no
And
questions
here you
asked.
are,
Yes. And here I
9 years
am, 9 years
after.
later.
Still practicing what you studied in college. And, that's something I also want to share with all our viewers and listeners because both of you and I took BS psychology, and it's something you can practice in the BPO industry. Know that there's a place for you in this industry. But, Boggs, I want to understand how you started your career in recruitment as well. You said VXIPH is your first BPO company. So, how did you end up in recruitment?
Yes. Well, technically, Jamie, my interest way back was really aligned with research. I was a graduate of sociology. That's the main reason
Mm,
why I became
mm-hmm,
fascinated with research and all that stuff, immersion and all that. But way back after graduation, of course, I'm an only kid, just to share. So I gotta make ends meet for for my parents, right? For family, and I gotta work. And practically way back that time, research doesn't offer that good, to be honest, right?
mm-hmm,
And I I got couple of applications in Makati area. I tried doing the walk-in stuff. Then I'm
mm-hmm,
in a specific lounge for applicants. Then that's the part where the recruiters are calling. I'm looking for candidate number two. Then that's
mm-hmm.
the part wherein gusto ko niyan. Gusto ko maging ganyan. That's where
Oh,
that's what led me to recruitment. Well, might be a shallow answer, but that's the honest
it's
answer that I can share.
not. It's
So
not. I got goosebumps listening to that. It's not shallow at all. So when you heard somebody say that for you, that was your calling. It was like, I want to be that person someday.
yes, precisely. I was at
Mhm.
that moment when that my name was called at that moment. I'm looking for candidate Kim. Then of course I stood up, but gusto ko yung ganon. Gusto ko ako yung magtatawag. After that, I
Oo.
actually filled that application just to share. So after
Okay.
that, when I reached home, I searched postings and all. Then I saw the job post for VXI. Tried my luck. Same with Joy. I actually waited for it's not a quick application, around 2 3 weeks. Same with Joy. Then
Mhm.
one of our corp team called me. Then I also got the job. I never hesitated. I quickly answered yes. The recruiter told me
Oh,
you'd be up for a medical. I'd be there. Give me 1 hour. I'd be there. So that led me to
wow.
VXI recruitment.
I had goosebumps when you said that because I remember the days when I used to do that as well, where we call in the applicants and, the applicants are there
Yes.
looking at the recruitment team. Like they had their careers in our hands, right? So I get what you mean when you said, when I heard my name being called, I knew I wanted to be that. And for me, that was a great thing because you were helping individuals out there find the best career for them. And for me, that was the most fulfilling. But I want to know your stand. What do you find the most fulfilling part about your role as a BPO recruiter? Let's start off with Joy.
Um, Sorry, what was the question again?
What do you find most fulfilling about your role as a BPO recruiter, Joy?
Okay, so I'm going to share something. This was way back in, I believe, 2012, 2013. Um, I started with VXI as a recruiter for agent hiring. So that's going
Mhm.
to be ramping. So a lot of people applied, a lot of people failed, a lot of people got hired for the company, and I always appreciate that when you get to see the faces of the people or the applicants that you used to handle or used to process. You'd see them in the hallways and they'd, hi Miss Joy, oy, thank you talaga, kung hindi dahil sa'yo hindi talaga ako makakapasa. Like,
Oh.
it's a good thing that you're actually helping
Mm-hmm.
them to land a job that they needed. Because I've had
Mm-hmm.
this applicant, I believe she was there was a storm in the northern part of Mindanao, and then they went to Davao City to look for a job, and then
Mm-hmm.
the I believe I no longer can no longer remember the name, but the person told me that he lost all his belongings as well as the farm because of the
Okay.
storm. And
Mm-hmm.
he is now looking for a job to be able to sustain the needs of his family. He was able to
Mm-hmm.
get the job with VXI Global, and I believe he stayed for about 4 years, landed
Mm-hmm.
and got promoted for a higher position, which was great. He was happy. He
Mhm.
transferred to a different company because the account I believe was closed in
Mm-hmm.
the account closed in VXI, so he transferred to another BPO company. But then again, knowing that you've hired someone that really needed a job and be able
Mm.
to promote or see them grow within the company is actually fulfilling for me.
I love that. And that is exactly what you guys do. You give so many opportunities to individuals out there, of course, with the help of VXIPH, which has a lot of opportunities and job roles available for everyone out there. There's truly a home for individuals out there looking for a role in the BPO industry. Boggs, what about you? What do you find most fulfilling about being a recruiter in the BPO industry?
Well, most fulfilling would be it's actually not about the hire, right? It's more of the family's sustenance behind the hire.
Mm,
So technically, same with Joy, been encountering like 2 3 minutes of interaction with hired folks. Where in the
mm-hmm,
elevator, hired folks would be
mm,
saying, "Sir, thank you. May pang grocery na kami." But the most that I can't forget would be that candidate. He's a boy. He
mm-hmm.
applied in the BPO because he will propose to
Mhm.
his partner.
Wow.
So
Yes.
after a couple of months, we interacted. Then he mentioned to me, "Sir, dahil sa'yo nakapagpakasal ako." He invited
Oh.
me, but I wasn't able to attend the wedding itself. But when I heard that, of course, it's more of given that I'm also a man, right? I also have a partner, so I was really
Mm,
touched by that moment. So fulfilling would be the after application experiences with the hire.
exactly. So it's not hiring the hiring process itself, but what you're able to give to these individuals once they have a career in VXI, may pang-grocery na sila, pwede na silang
Yeah.
magpakasal. Diba? They can provide for their families. And that's an amazing feeling that you were part of that process. Now, I'd like to know what the biggest lesson was that you learned as a BPO recruiter. Joy?
Um, Biggest lesson probably is not all applicants are or not all applicants really wanted to start with VXI. Some of them, we
Mm,
always have that. We recruiters have that.
okay.
Like, you have an applicant, they'd say yes, but they will not show up. It's
Okay.
heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, but
Mhm.
truth be told, I'm pretty sure everybody has those times. And the hardest lesson is that you really need to track everything because
Mhm.
there you won't be able to find anything if you don't track it properly.
Okay. So this is in terms of how you made your decision on hiring that person. Is that what you mean, Joy? And they
Yes,
end up not showing up. Okay. How do you
yes,
manage this? I mean, you trust that this person wants to start a career in the BPO industry and with VXI specifically, and when they end up showing up, for all the aspiring recruiters out there, how do you manage that disappointment? Because you said it's heartbreaking for you when that ends up
yes.
happening. So how are you able to surpass that?
Well, for me, I learned to accept the fact that not everyone wants to join, or not everyone would prefer to be in a certain company. Because if you're an applicant yourself, you would always open your doors to better opportunities, and you will never know
Mm-hmm.
what opportunities they have other than the offer that you have with them. So if
True.
and when the candidate has an offer with with another company that is way better than what we can offer, I'm pretty sure she would, or he should jump ship to that certain company to be able to
Mm-hmm.
provide for his or her family.
Okay. Now, Boggs, what about you? We've heard from Joy. That's the most challenging for her, in which, you can't really predict the outcome. You have trust in the person and you believe their words, but sometimes they end up not showing up. And that's how she manages it. But for you, what's the best lesson that you've learned as a BPO recruiter?
Well, best lesson for me would be same with Joy. It's all about trust in our line of
Mm-hmm.
job. I enjoyed, we didn't talk, but when she answered, that's also my answer, trust. But the other best
Mm-hmm.
lesson for me would be lahat pwede, pero hindi lahat dapat in our line of industry. Because
Uh-huh.
you've got to draw the fine line between being humane and
Mm-hmm.
being in a business. Of course, as an
Okay.
employee of the company, always going to be on a business standpoint, but when you do interviews, interviews become so personal. It's kind of touching you already, and
Mm.
you really wanted to help the candidate, but you know for a fact that there must be room for improvement for the person before we can push through. And
Mm.
best lesson for me would be draw that fine line between kindness and being part of a business, or doing the professionalism stuff.
That's true because when you have, especially these final interviews in the recruitment process, it's difficult because you get to learn about the needs of the interviewee and also their lives, and you want to help out. But I love what you said, Boggs, where lahat pwede, hindi lahat
Pero hindi
dapat.
lahat
Tama
dapat.
ba? Did I get that right? Okay. So
Yes,
you
yes,
also have to remember you have to hire for the role in the most appropriate way and find the right candidate because at the end of the day, that's how you help that person as well. If you're
yes.
able to match the person and the right role. Thank you for that. I love that. Now, we've talked about drawing that fine line, and I guess that's difficult for most recruiters. But what is the most challenging about your role as a BPO recruiter, Joy and Boggs? Let's start off with Joy. What do you find most difficult?
Um, find most difficult. That's a that's a tough question. But for
Hmm.
me, the most difficult part is, especially for back office, is looking for the perfect fit for the
Yeah.
position. Kasi
Hmm.
we all know, hindi naman kasi lahat pwede. Tulad ng sinabi ni
Mm-mm.
Box, lahat pwede pero hindi dapat. Something like that.
Uh-oh.
But especially for back office, there's specific qualifications that you will be needing to fill, and you needed to find that person. It's like a diamond that you need to dig. So
Hmm.
for me, that's the most difficult part.
Finding the right fit and finding the best diamond for
Yes.
that finger. Just kidding.
Yes. Yeah. Still
What
need
about
that.
you? What about you, Boggs? What do you find most challenging? Is it what you mentioned earlier, where you have to draw that fine line between you have sympathy or empathy for the applicant, but you have to remember you're in a business, or is it something else?
Well, that's really the answer, Jamie. I would be
Mm-hmm.
connecting my previous answer to that question, because at some points, right, you would really have to stand to your role as a recruiter,
Mm-hmm.
as an employee. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna waste the time of my applicant. It's also a way for
Mm-hmm.
me to help them, right? So drawing that fine line would really be the most challenging part for me, even up until this moment, to be honest.
Yeah.
There are really candidates where you know for a fact this candidate is really so tenured, so fit for the role, but
Mm.
there are really some instances that would not permit me to. So I'm not gonna waste your time processing all that requirements with us
Mm-hmm.
and all that. When I know for a fact, as Joy have mentioned earlier, you will end up not meeting each other in the day one of training, right? So you've also
Mm-hmm.
mentioned that. I mean, when the candidate mentions that to me or give me hints already, so that fine line between kindness and business, that's really the hardest part for me.
All I can feel you, and I can remember the days when I did it as well. And you both are right. It's really finding the balance and just remembering your role as a recruiter, which is really giving the job to the one that deserves it and has the right skill set for it as well. Now, I'm sure you've done hundreds, if not thousands, because I mean, Joy, you've been in the industry for 9 years, and Boggs, you've been in the industry for 4 years. So you've done a lot of interviews. But what's that one interview that you will always remember? Joy?
Oh, one interview that I will always remember. Let's see. Probably my first year with a company or in the industry, wherein I had to interview. Oh, one interview. I had to interview an applicant pretending to be. Oh, he's only pretending to be an applicant.
Oh,
Unfortunately, he's a director of the company.
oh dear. So was it more of a
It was
calibration process for him?
probably, but it was
Okay.
actually fun for me because I interviewed him the way that I should have been interviewing other applicants, and it went well.
Hmm.
He
Okay.
he wrote a recommendation that I am pretty much very well doing my job, or pretty good
Okay.
in my job, very detail oriented, which was good. It was my first year, so I really need that positive outcome. Other than the pretending to be an applicant, I had an applicant wherein she was a fresh graduate, very nervous applicant. She was
Hmm.
literally shaking during my interview. So when I came in and we had a conversation, I told her that, how about I give you time to be alone for a while? I gave him a water and told her, uh, take a deep breath. I'm not going to bite you. I'm not going to eat you alive. I'm just going to have a conversation with you. This is not going to failure in anything. Okay, you're not gonna die
Hmm.
here. She said, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm very nervous. This is my first time to have this interview. So it's okay. It's okay. So I think I gave her about 5 to 15 minutes to cool off. And then when I came back,
Mm.
I had an interview with her. It went well. She's very smart. She's very
Hmm.
smart. Ended up having her for our pioneer account. And
Hmm.
I believe she was promoted in less than a year, which was great.
Amazing. Amazing. I love that you care about your applicants, because what you just described to me goes to show that it's not just about getting the interview done, but it's also really helping these applicants. And you gave her time to calm down. I can remember several times I've done that as well, where we say, I don't bite, calm down. And that's something that our viewers and listeners need to know as well. This is a process that we all love and we all use to give opportunities. So isn't something that you should be intimidated by, because we're here to help. So what about you, Boggs? So Joy mentioned two instances. By the way, I applaud her for acing that first instance, because it was a director who she was interviewing and she got a recommendation out of that. But I think it was probably best that you didn't know he or she was a director, Joy. But
I actually
amazing
found
job.
out that she was the director after the
After.
interview.
That's great.
It
Now,
was
I'm gonna
like,
shake if I'm on your
okay,
shoe.
right? If you knew it was the
Yes.
director, then you would have that in your mind. But you did it the way you do it, and you were recommended by him after. So that just goes to show you're an amazing recruiter. And that was your first year, by the way. You're here already for 9 years. But let's move on to Boggs. What's that one interview, Boggs, that you will never forget?
That one interview, Jamie, that I'll never forget would be an interview with an applicant way back that I'm in VXI Clark. So
Mm-hmm.
we started the interview already. Then the applicant is already narrating some stuff about herself. Then she mentioned she was invited in VXI Clark that same day. Then she also
Mm-hmm.
mentioned she is from Sagada area, somewhere near Benguet, some that
Mm-hmm.
area. So that's kind of bit far for me, right? And she doesn't have any call center experience, no
Mm-hmm.
assurances of any, but she was there. So I believe if I can still recall it right, the interview was around past after lunch. Then
Mm-hmm.
she went home around 10 p.m. during that time because the site way back was pioneering. So the applications would be open up until late midnight. And that dedication, I can't forget that because I've encountered a lot of applicants wherein, applicants who can't really wait. We must admit that fact that there are. And it's also our
Mm-hmm.
job to accommodate them way, way fast, right? But that
Yeah.
dedication, all the way from Sagada,
Mm-hmm.
going to Clark same day, going home around 10 p.m. with no assurances if there's going to be public transport going up Baguio area. So that's a big, big factor for me. So I can't really forget that applicant.
So moving. It's amazing how we encounter many of these instances in these interviews. And thank you for sharing that, Boggs. Again, it goes back to the fact that what you both do is so important and it really opens up opportunities to many individuals out there. So tap on the back for all that you do every single day. And of course, for VXIPH for providing opportunities. The pandemic will not stop this company from giving that to so many individuals out there. I mean, that's why we're here on VXI Conversations because we want to continue to spread the word that there is home for you here and there are so many opportunities for you here. But before I talk about that, wow. Joy and Box. What a way to close our first season. It's truly been a pleasure listening to your stories, and your anecdotes of success will truly be an inspiration for all our listeners and viewers out there who are also aspiring to be a part of the BPO recruitment industry someday or department someday. Before we wrap up our final episode of season one, may I ask Joy and Boggs to share a few words for all our listeners and viewers out there? Joy?
Well, for all our viewers and listeners out there, hi. So, um, being in the BPO industry, for especially for those who doesn't have any experience or any background at all, is scary. Everything is scary when it's new, right? So, what the thing that I can tell everybody is you can never know what risk you're taking until you try it or until you take it. So, take the
Mm-hmm.
risk. You'll
I
never
love
know.
that.
You might grow.
Exactly. You might say yes immediately, start 3 days after, and still be here 9 years after pursuing the role you want, like Joy. So take the risk. What about you, Boggs?
Yeah, same context with Joy. Gotta take that leap, right?
Mm-hmm.
As what my supervisor, specifically that supervisor is Winton, he always, what he said to me was, hindi mo naman alam kung ready ka na for that position hanggat wala ka dun eh. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Exactly.
right? So, if you're a candidate who doesn't have any call center experience, you wanted to try out the call center experience, or let's say you're targeting VXI, right? So, that's a good thing. Take that leap. You do the
Mm-hmm.
application. We're pretty much open daily, even weekends. We have sites open on a weekend, processing
Mm-hmm.
applications too. And if it's not meant to be for that specific day of application, then try it again, right?
Yes. I
There's
mean,
no harm in trying.
mm-hmm. Take a look at both of you, right? It wasn't on the first try. You just have to keep trying. And I love that. It's so inspiring. Take the risk, take the leap of faith. Hindi mo alam hanggat gagawin mo, 'di ba? Hanggat you give it a
Yes.
try. So thank you so much. You both are so inspiring to talk to. And I'm so happy we had the chance to have this conversation with you on the final episode. A big thank you once again, Joy and Boggs.
Thank you.
And
Thank
Thank you for
thank
you.
having
you
us.
so much. Thank you so much. Now, like what Joy and Boggs have shared with you, like what we've been telling you since episode one, if you are interested to establish a promising career in VXI, go ahead and browse through our openings on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Take that leap of faith, take that risk, as Joy and Boggs said. You can also send in an application to careersph at vxi.com. Plus, VXI PH also caters to candidates with or without BPO experience as long as they are a graduate of at least high school, old curriculum, or senior high school with good English communication skills. Thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I have to say this from the heart. This is truly a bittersweet moment for me and the VXI Conversations team. It's been a blast sharing all these conversations with you. Thank you for joining in on our conversations. You are a big part of it as well. And we hope that we've been able to help in one way or another, all of you, as you carve your path toward professional success in the BPO industry. As we come back for season two in 2022, be prepared as we bring you new topics that we will explore and learn about together. Till the next one. This has been your host, Jamie Fournier. Happy holidays and a bright new year to all of you. Bye, everybody. Bye, Joy. Bye, Bogs.
Bye. Thank you for
Bye.
having
Thank
us.
you, Jamie.
Thank you so much. Bye.